Good evening, everyone. I'm David John Sponheim, and this is America's Third Party. I'm running for president in 2016, and I must tell you, this was the background of the White House in 1981. Very interesting background indeed. In fact, you wonder what happened since 1981 when Ronald Reagan was our president. What happened was the walls got stained. We have a smoker in the White House, and God knows what he's smoking. I mean, we know he smoked crack at Occidental College. He wrote about that in his book, Audacity of Hope. Barack Obama has proven to be the worst president in U.S. history. But what makes matters even worse is the media is still spinning a story about how it's the Tea Party's problem. Look at the article from the liberal media the CNN has put out, calling it the worst shutdown in modern U.S. history, and it says in the back, "Get your Tea Party hands off my government," fueling a controversy between the Republicans who are trying to do the right thing to promote fiscal conservative ways, and Barack Obama, who wants to extend the debt limit, never wants to face any kind of a monitoring situation or any kind of accountability. Clearly, we've got a problem with a president that refuses to admit that he's got problems with his Obamacare plan. In fact, the problems were evident when the president first dealt with the issue, but he never opened it up to discussions on C-SPAN. Remember when he said he would and then he lied? He refused to talk about the problem, so now the problem is put right in front of him, forcing him to deal with the Tea Party conservatives who are still pretty strong and still have a strong hold over the House. And I must tell you that the Republicans should answer the big question: what are the Tea Party people really saying about Obamacare? Because obviously the expense of implementing a plan that's going to cost $1 trillion over 10 years needs to be discussed. There's no way that people in America are going to be able to pay the costs necessary to create Obamacare. For one, Obamacare doesn't cover anybody who is making less than $62,000 a year. The exchange plan doesn't qualify you. You basically will become part of Medicaid. Anyone making less than $62,000 a year will be part of the Medicaid expansion fund, and it is going to expand. Barack Obama is going to cost this nation way more money because of this. What we're seeing is rising healthcare costs that are unleashed. They don't have any kind of cost control whatsoever. There's nothing in Obamacare to lower the cost of healthcare. Nothing. The cost of an x-ray could be capped at $100. They could cap the cost of a hospital room at $250, or an ICU hospital room at $600. But no, they're not doing that. You go around this country and you can see hospital rooms as high as $4,000 or $5,000 a day. And that's why any kind of correction Obamacare plans to do is only going to fuel the rising cost of healthcare, not a lowering of the cost of healthcare. Now, if you're saying that putting a cap on healthcare costs would lower competition, not true. Private insured people and private hospitals could charge whatever they want, but any hospital that is nonprofit that would be able to collect nonprofit status would be limited in the cost they charge on healthcare, and the CEOs wouldn't be making $800,000 under my plan. Right now, there's nonprofit hospitals where they pay their CEOs $800,000 a year. Their doctors are getting way more than they deserve. And the country continues to go bankrupt. We individually will go bankrupt. Do you know that 85% of all medical bankruptcies happen to people that are fully covered under full insurance company plans? Let me explain what happens. You go into a doctor with, say, a bad appendix, and they say, "Oh, you're hooked up to Blue Cross, Primera. Oh, good deal, okay." So they pull your appendix out. "Oh, but by the way, you may need a little bit of reconstructive surgery on your groin area, so why don't we throw in another operation while we do that? And we'll probably leave a scalpel inside of you, then we'll have to have another operation to get the scalpel out. Plus, you're risking yourself by going into a hospital where 1 million people get staph infections every year in America." Okay, are you getting the picture? They're going to drain your Primera healthcare plan to the max. It'll reach maximum portions. They'll cap out at $1 million while you're struggling to survive. And then guess what? Your family will have to declare medical bankruptcy because they've been gouged and they're going to take the house. Yeah, your whole family gets nothing, you die, and the healthcare providers, they get rich. And Obamacare does nothing to stop that. That's the scenario. And we've got a very simple plan that could solve America's problems with our mobile medical health care plan that would provide immediate care to people in any city in America for a copay of $25. Yeah, this plan is basically an out-of-the-box idea that we came up with about 4 years ago in lieu of what we saw with Obamacare coming. And we would provide a mobile medical unit in your area if you had no funds at all. That mobile medical unit would be able to treat you for free if you signed an affidavit saying you were broke. But if we found out you had money, we would actually charge you $25 copay initially. You'd be able to get a blood prick analysis of your chemistry of your blood to find out if you've got diabetes or heart disease or any number of diseases. And we'd be able to give you a printout of a nutritional plan that you can take home with you and you could start on the pathway to good health. That's a simple solution that doesn't involve hospitals, doesn't involve ER workers, doesn't involve rising costs for doctors, and we can implement the whole plan through the Veterans Administration. And at the same time, we can use the existing Veterans Superfund to finance it, and you, the American taxpayer, have a cost savings of billions of dollars. We can implement this plan for about $2 billion for the first year. I can have 200 units in every city in America. We've got other great ideas. But most of all, I want you all to realize that our country cannot possibly continue spending out left and right. Our country is not for sale. Some people say, is America for sale? Well, if you're an illegal immigrant, you're coming into the country. Yeah, I guess it is. You can get free Social Security and food stamps and Section 8 housing money from Barack Obama. You can even get a free green card. So yeah, I guess if you're an illegal alien and you want a guaranteed $10,000 loan and some refugee pay, yeah, I guess America is for sale. But if we, as a nation, stand up to this nonsense and this illegal immigration problem, we will not be for sale. And I say, hell no, we are not for sale. This is not a country that's for sale. But we've got better ideas at America's Third Party. We've got ideas like legalization. You think Barack Obama, with his hours spending smoking crack at Occidental College, he'd realize the beauty of legalizing marijuana and how it would help our economy. But no, he can't even figure that one out. You see, Barack Obama is just a puppet. People say, oh, you're blaming Obama for everything. You're Obama bashing. Hey, look he's just a puppet. But the office of the presidency is not a puppet office. It is not a powerless office. It is the best chance we've got for accountability in Washington. It is the only chance we can do it in a short time period. We can't wait for 2 cycles of Congress to get voted out. And they probably wouldn't get voted out because nobody can basically win against the 2 parties in any local election. But I, as a presidential candidate, running with a pro-legalization campaign, can beat the Democrats and Republicans. The numbers are there. 57% of the American people want to legalize marijuana. They'll vote for me simply to make this thing possible so that people can start up growing marijuana in their homes and can ultimately sell it and make a profit. And the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Organization could be changed to the ATMF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, Marijuana, and Firearms, and they would oversee the taxing of all of these drugs. Obviously, I'm not in favor of people smoking necessarily. If you've never smoked, don't. But if you do smoke and you do enjoy it and it makes you feel good and it helps you and it's not addictive in a physical way, then why not allow it to be legalized? And plus, drugs are not something that people will want to use when they're smoking marijuana. They're probably less likely to do crack, like Obama did at Occidental. Had he just stuck with marijuana, he would have been fine. But also growers of hemp can make money too, and we can integrate hempoline into our diesel fuel supply and provide diesel truck drivers an alternative, like a green diesel alternative that they could run in their trucks at a lower cost. So truck drivers could save $1 a gallon, and the cost of goods at stores would go down as a result of truckers saving money on those long hauls that they go on. We've got other ideas that could actually be implemented across the board. We've got a concept, a job plan that would bring in housing. Check this idea out. This is our homestead renewal plan, and it is a way to create not only better houses in America and offer the dream of home ownership to people, but we can also put solar rooftops on these things and actually get them to pay for themselves over time with lower cost electricity and money coming off that electric grid up on top of the roof. Imagine all the foreclosed homes around the country. There's over 11 million of them right now that could definitely use a complete makeover. And I don't mean ripping them down. I'm talking about taking the bones of a house and building them up to look as nice as this house right here. And that house could sell on the open market for like $50,000 to people that have never owned a house before. It would not be available to investors. So you wouldn't have these pariah that are leeching off the American people trying to buy up houses and rent them out. You'd have people that have been foreclosed on, and they'd be offered first right of ownership on these kind of houses. So if your house was recently lost, you'd have an opportunity to get involved in the homestead renewal plan under my plan. And all of these plans can be implemented directly from the executive branch of our country. I can implement it through HUD. Housing and Urban Development has a plan called the Home Plan that Barack Obama has underfunded in the past 5 years. We simply transition the home plan to buying up more houses and get these people to work with shovel-ready jobs. Anybody could make $10 an hour and put their sweat equity into building a house or fixing up a house that could very well be their own or one like it. And then the pride of home ownership increases because people know how hard it is to make these homes look nice. So this is something that I'd like America to think about. Flipping houses and getting the government involved where they can actually make money back and then lower the tax burden on the American taxpayer. We've got other great ideas too. We've got, let's see, an idea like bringing our troops home. Boy, would we save money. Not starting wars like the one Obama wants to start in Syria. We would be able to get our troops home and they'd be able to use their paychecks here in America. We could put our National Guard on the border where they were intended to be. We could actually have them rotate along the border and protect us. The Border Patrol could be lie detector tested, and once they pass the lie detector test, which they're probably going to have a problem with because a lot of them are on the take from drug cartels, those Border Patrol agents could then be used to interdict drug cartels within our cities. And the border could be handled with the National Guard. Even our ports of entry could be, we could use the Coast Guard and National Guard in plain clothes at our airports so that they would replace the TSA, thereby lowering the cost of an airline ticket. It would be a brilliant idea because we're already employing 2 million people in our military. Why not use them, you know? I mean, these are ideas that have just not been implemented, and we need a better strategy for our country. Okay, pulling them down one by one off the screen, and we'll bring up the whole concept of what this is all about, which is to build a new third party, do it in the next 2 years, and create a challenge to the two-party system that will be credible, that we can actually take to the mainstream media and get representation. Where do you come involved? You basically are the groundwork, the foundation. As a voter and a person who talks to other people, you are our best ally. You're the person who could walk into your family's dinner table and say, hey, have you guys talked about a third party? Anybody? And then, oh, that'll never work. Yeah, it's just splitting the vote. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And just tell them, hey, the two-party system has failed. They can't even come to an agreement on the budget. There's so many different things a third party could do. They could arbitrate between the left and the right. They could walk the center of the political aisle and come up with solutions, as opposed to just naming and blaming like the Republicans and the Democrats do. We could come up with ideas that will generate buzz and create virality that could grow, like our homestead renewal plan, or like our solar rooftop plan, or like all of our ideas on our website at America's Third Party. So if you're a person who really believes that an independent voice is needed in government at this time, you'd want to get behind this venture that we've been behind for the past 4.5 years. We've been pushing hard, and we continue to push hard because we are driven by principles, not by greed. We're driven by the idea that an honest president is needed at a time of deep corruption in our government. Now, our country is being misled by unparalleled corruption that has pushed us to the depths of lies, deceit, false flags, cover-ups. Whether you believe some of the things that have happened in our country are cover-ups or not, you got to ask the big question, why is the government so tied to corporate America? Well, the reason why they're so tied to corporate America is they get funding, $50,000 a plate dinners to get elected. That's why they won't cut the budget. Okay? It's that simple. We don't have any of those problems. We're not tied to the monetary chain. We're using the free internet to reach out to people, and we're providing a solution to America's problems. I want to have a White House like Ronald Reagan had. I want to have a White House, not a people's house, a White House. A White House dedicated to honesty, truth, justice, fairness, and everything America stands for. I'm sick and tired of presidents in the past that have just kowtowed to big money like Barack Obama and George Bush. Like presidents that obviously stand up for what they believe in. I want a president like Ronald Reagan. And that's the kind of president I hope to be. Or like John F. Kennedy, because I really respect John F. Kennedy and what he tried to do in the short time that he was allowed to be president. I can tell you that our country is going to need a lot more than just talk too. We need to have real ideas and spell it out to the American people, and we do that at our website at americasthirdparty.com. If you want to participate in our show on a nightly basis, come in 6 to 9 Pacific time and we will talk. Right now I'm extending out another half hour just to do this show. And I will do these shows, and we have an anti-war show on Saturday that you'd probably like to get involved in. I want to end war. I don't want to see more war. My father told me something before he died. He died right before the Trade Center attack on our country. My dad said, "David, war is obsolete." And I thought to him, that's a very hopeful thought, Dad. But it comes down to, we need to force our government officials to get out of these wars, to stop feeding the military-industrial complex. Because right after my dad died, Bush started the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War, and of course Barack Obama has continued with the war on Libya, and now trying to start a war in Syria. So clearly I've got to do the hard work of keeping our nation safe and building peace, because it takes a lot more work and energy to build peace with other nations than to start a war and start saber rattle and start attacking people. It's going to be better for our economy too if we have peace. Peace will beget prosperity. And I can tell you it works both ways. If a lot of the nations that we're working with see prosperity in the future, we'll start to see more peace as well. And we've got a brilliant plan to bring peace to the Middle East through providing more water to countries that are challenged with droughts. And these are the things that really matter to people like in the Gaza Strip. They'd love to have a Palestinian state, but they're not able to because, of course, they've got so much infighting going on and fights between the Palestinians and the Jewish people. These things can be mitigated with more prosperity. So we have a plan to create a seawater pipeline for areas like the Gaza Strip and offer it as an olive branch of peace. Fresh water, passively desalinated fresh water that could be brought in and given to the people in the Gaza Strip, and then they would be able to grow food. They might be able to have a port in the Mediterranean that's monitored by the UN. I mean, there are a lot of options in the future that we can work toward. But clearly we don't need more people starving and more people at war. So let's start thinking of out-of-the-box ideas and coming up with these ideas in the near future, because we are not going to get any new ideas out of the two-party system. Somebody said in our chat room tonight, "Oh, well, we can fix the two parties." No. They've had enough time to fix themselves. Nobody's in the Democratic Party is even questioning Barack Obama. And nobody in the Republican Party really knows what the Republican Party is all about anymore. It's so splintered. It's so divided. So we believe that the fiscal conservatives in America can unite with the social liberals in the middle of the political spectrum, and we can forge a centrist party for the future of America, where we can talk about issue by issue and stop naming and blaming everybody on left and right. We can just start talking issue by issue and coming up with sensible solutions to the problems facing this country. We can't do it by just saying, "Well, I refuse to talk," or in the case of Barack Obama, "Well, make no mistake about it. We're not going to talk until we actually extend the debt limit." I don't think we're going to extend the debt limit. I don't believe we're going to be able to do it. The Republicans are hell-bent on stopping Obamacare. So Barack Obama, listen to the Republicans, stop putting your ego ahead of this country, and just get Obamacare to go away for a while, okay? That would be my recommendation to Barack Obama. The only thing I liked about Obamacare was the fact that people with pre-existing conditions can get help. But beyond that, because he didn't push for a public option or any kind of a low-cost healthcare insurance alternative, basically Barack Obama is killing business across the board. And it's going to hurt America deeply. So definitely put Obamacare on hold, let's nullify it, and let's move on toward cutting the real budget of this country and getting a zero deficit. That's how to get this nation fiscally under control, because currently it's not under control. All right, everybody, thank you for coming in and participating, and we will talk to you guys later. And don't forget our Saturday anti-war rally, 6 o'clock Pacific, till 9. Take care.